My brother Marcus thought he was being clever. He always does. The night of his housewarming, he handed me a paper plate while everyone else ate off fine china. Hope you don't mind the kitty plate. Maya, he said loud enough for the whole room to hear. Not everyone can keep up with my lifestyle. The laughter that followed echoed like a slap, but I forced a smile. I'm Maya, 34, the practical one in my family. Work boots instead of heels, savings account instead of designer bags. While Marcus flaunted his imported suits and flashy cars, I poured my life into building something real. Henderson Construction, a company I started from scratch. I don't parade my money. I let my work stand for me, but in that room, none of them saw it. They only saw the sister with calloused hands and a dented truck. The plate was thin, almost bending under the weight of food, and that felt fitting. I sat quietly, balancing it in my lap, listening to Marcus boast about marble counters and custom floors, things I knew all too well. My heart thudded against my ribs as his friends laughed at every joke, as if his cruelty was some kind of entertainment. I wanted to slam that plate down and tell them the truth right then, that every wall in this house, every cabinet, every finish, had passed through my hands and my company's, but I didn't, not yet. Instead, I swallowed the insult, tasted the bitterness of it, and made myself small for one more evening. Because sometimes silence is sharper than shouting. And Marcus had no idea that the very thing he was bragging about the house itself was mine to reveal. He thought he'd humiliated me with a paper plate. What he didn't know was that I was holding something far heavier. The invitation landed a week earlier. Glossy cardstock and gold script at the bottom, in Marcus's handwriting. Casual dress. We know you don't have anything fancy anyway. I laughed once and filed it with warranties and tax receipts. The place I keep important things that don't look like it. I don't own gowns. I own good jeans and boots that have stood on more roofs than carpets. I wipe them clean anyway. Black shirt, hair pulled back, a touch of mascara. I stared in the mirror and promised myself I wouldn't give him what he wanted. I would not flinch. The driveway was a ribbon of cars that cost as much as some of my projects. BMWs, Mercedes, a sports car allergic to speed bumps. My pickup rattled over the gravel, paint scarred by 1,000 job sites. The valley blinked like I'd brought a tractor. I can park myself, I said, sliding into a spot near stacked pallets left from landscaping. Marcus saw me before I reached the door. There she is, our resident handyman. He angled me toward his guests. You find the place okay? GPS doesn't speak. What is it? Industrial. Then, louder. You said casual, Maya. You nailed. Functional. Laughter bubbled up, polite and sharp. Heat rose in my neck, but I stuffed it down where I keep long days and late payments. Congrats on the house, I said. Steady. Looks substantial. I let the word hang like a plumb line. He took it as praise and patted my shoulder as if I were the help. Inside, the air smelled like lemon oil and money. Music floated from hidden speakers. I recognized the stone underfoot by its flecking, the cabinet grained by the way it caught light. None of that showed on my face. I moved through his world like a ghost who had framed it. Every few minutes Marcus lobbed another joke, a light toss. That still stung. Trade's entrance is in the back. Sis, you should network, someone might need a doghouse. Each time I smiled, small and closed. Each time I folded the feeling and put it away. Playing along isn't weakness, it's strategy. I've learned to let arrogant men talk themselves into the trap they built. The night was young, the house was loud, and my silence, for now, was the only tool I needed. Marcus loved being on stage, and tonight his house was the theater. He clapped his hands together, rallying the guests for a grand tour. Come on, everyone, you've got to see the craftsmanship. He boomed, puffing his chest like he'd laid each brick himself. I trailed behind the crowd, my boots sinking into plush rugs. He swept them through the kitchen first, bragging about imported marble countertops. I didn't need his words, I knew those slabs. Every vining line, my company had sourced them from a quarry in Vermont, hauled them across state lines, and installed them with hands that still bore the scars. This cabinetry, Marcus said, running his fingers across the glossy finish. Custom design, cost a fortune, but you get what you pay for. He winked at a guest. They chuckled and whispered about his flawless taste. I touched the edge of a cabinet when no one was looking, remembering how my foreman spent a week sanding and aligning every door until they shut with a whisper. We moved room to room, his voice drumming on stone fireplaces, vaulted ceilings, crown molding. Every brag was a stone in my pocket, heavier with each step. He hadn't even paid attention during construction. too busy flying to Capo or Vegas. But now he paraded it all as his triumph, while I kept walking silently through the house I had built. Laughter followed his jokes. Applause followed his boasts. Guests leaned in, impressed. I stayed near the back, my pulse steady. Each lie was a nail he hammered into his own coffin, and I was handing him the hammer without him knowing. By the time the tour ended in the great room, I was burning. He raised his arms wide, declaring the space a temple to luxury. They clapped again. I pressed my lips into a thin smile, because I knew the truth he couldn't even imagine. His temple was my work, my sweat, my creation, and sooner or later, he would choke on the irony. Candles gloss crystal as we sat. Marcus kept the jokes coming. Maya still drives that antique, he said. My parents chuckled. Think bigger, honey. Mom added. I cut my steak and tasted metal. Jessica raised her glass. Manual work builds character. Laughter. When the toast came, Marcus opened his arms to courage, to vision. His eyes pinned me to the American dream. At the doorway, Jake slipped and froze. I gave a small shake. Not yet. Afterward. In the hall, Marcus smiled. When you're ready to hire a real contractor, I'll get you a family discount. Something in me found level. I set my paper plate in the center of the table. Kittens grinning among crystal. Quick correction, I said. Henderson Construction built this house. I opened a folder. Contracts, permits, stamped blueprints. Jake stepped beside me. Silence landed. Marcus went pale. You? That no. Work boots instead of heels. I said. Savings instead of show. You've been bragging all night about my work. I gathered the papers. Keep the china. Marcus, I'll take the plate. It's the only thing here that's yours. I walked out with the kitty plate under my arm and cool night opening wide.